For watercolor, we have quite a bit of options. We have these really vibrant liquid watercolors, which you can use the ones that are in the tub. If you don't see a color, ask me and I will get it. I don't use it straight out of the bottle, so let me help you with that. I also have the classic watercolor trays. We have some watercolor pencils, which are water soluble, so they will leave a really cool mark. You can color with them first and then move your brush over them, or you could even dip them in water and try using them. These are something someone gave. You're welcome to experiment with these watercolor crayons. These palettes are the ones that I like to use and move them down here. These palettes go with this paint. So this liquid watercolor comes out of the tube. You don't need very much at all, a very small dot. And as you can see, okay, you just start with a very small dot and then you get your brush wet, dip it in and use that. You can add a little water to here. We can also save these by putting a cap on, and even though this is all dried out, you can add a little water and mix it up and it'll be good to go. So if you have mixed colors and you want to save it and there are enough that you can, then make sure and put your name on it so I don't throw it out. Up here we have salt. Salt makes some great textures. This is a larger flake and this is just smaller salt. Okay, here's an example of what salt can do. So what you will do if you want to do salt is paint your watercolor. Make sure it's wet. Make sure your watercolor is wet, and then you sprinkle the salt on, and as it dries it leaves you with these cool textures, and then you'll just brush the salt off after it's dried. Now these ones up here is another fun texture. I don't know if you can really tell all that well in this, but you can get some fun lines if you're painting with wet watercolor, and use saran wrap. If you want to have some streaky lines in it, you can put saran wrap over it and let it dry, and it will make some cool textures. And then up here also is a little example of wax resist with a crayon, and you can always do that with watercolor. Depending on how dry the paper is, it kind of determines how well you can control it. So these little lines in her hair were done on dry paper, but the shirt is done wet on wet, so the paper was wet and then the colors were applied and mixed on each other and they kind of all blend in together. If you want to have edges like this where it doesn't run in, you will though have to do paint on dry paper, and make sure that the color next to it is dry as well, or they will bleed and blend together. You can tell here the glasses bled a little out because of being wet, but you can use that to your advantage and layer in watercolor as well. The placemat drawer is great for making cleanup easier. If you're working with chalk pastel, try to find a chalk pastel-y one to work on, and paint or oil pastel you can do on one of these other ones. Smocks are up here in the front of the room in this bucket, and the middle school smocks are these ones. Just don't tie them in the back. Well, if you can, wrap it around and tie in the front. If not, tie it in a bow. Don't tie it in a knot. Over here we have our brushes, and they are organized. These ones you don't want to use for painting. They're for clay and glazes. These ones you don't really want to use. These are the older brushes for the little that I give the preschoolers and the younger classes. These are our flat brushes. Some of them are looking a little rough, but you can use those. These ones were the ones I originally bought for you all, and you can use them. That's flat and round. They're a little bit longer of a handle, but they didn't turn out. They're flaking a little bit, so most people seem to prefer these. These are the newer ones. You guys can use these for watercolor, acrylic, tempera paint. You can use it for any paint. And these are the smaller sizes. I do have a few teeny tiny detail ones that you can use. These are the specialty ones. There's just some different sizes that you can look for. Honestly, you guys don't need to put them away, so you just need to remember which ones to get. And the reason I don't want you guys to put them away is because I will find some that didn't, I mean, something might have spilled on this one, but this one looked like it didn't really get washed and put away. So we're gonna look at washing brushes. While you're getting your paint brushes, you can also choose your rinsing system. This is, I would really prefer for you all to do this. So grab a tray, grab a bucket for each table. So tray, bucket, and in here are the gross old sponges for Mr. Brush's bath mat. Whatever, we wash our brush on them. So you're just gonna fill this up. And one whole table can use this whole setup here. So when you're done, for middle school, I expect you to put this all the way away, as far as rinsing it out and making sure there's no more gross paint in there. Once you've rinsed all the paint, like, you'll probably have to put more water in, swish it around, dump it out. If you look in there and the paint is gone, then you're good to go. Put that over there on the drying rack. Rinse this out, put it back up here, squeeze it out, and that dries over there. If you're using any sort of palette, watercolor palette or tempera palette, make sure they get cleaned out all the way. There's okay if there's stains, but I don't want any fresh paint left in there. Clean it out all the way and you can let it dry in there. So you're going to get a little soap in your hand, get your brush wet, probably already is wet, and you're gonna rub it on the side in your palm. You don't want to be digging down like this, so just on the side, and just work it through until all the paint gets out. This one might be ruined, so I don't know what kind of paint this was, but if it was acrylic and it dries on there, it's a lost brush. So make sure, especially with acrylic, that you're washing them out really well. Once you get all the paint washed out, you're gonna rinse it out real well and stick it over there in this little paint drying or brush drying area. And that's all you have to do. Make sure that you're not leaving me anything dirty down in here, so I don't want to have to clean up after you guys. After you have painted, you need to wipe your table down. Unless you used a placemat and your table is completely clean, then you'll need to use either one of these wipes or one of these wipes from the cleanup bucket, which should be over here on this table, and if it's not on this table, then I might have put it over here on the clay table. But look for the cleanup bucket, wipe down your table. All wet paintings go in the drying rack, and it should be like this, where the top gets full before putting, and then the last person to fill that needs to put that down, so the next person who comes over can put it down without having, you're usually trying to hold it flat with two hands, so make sure you put that layer down for the next person.